from that area with some pastors who are here today. I'm going to talk to you about the Common Core. I'll try to be brief. It's like trying to give you a summary on War and Peace in 3 minutes. It's quite a conglomerated mess, if you will. But first, let me just tell you, when you hear Iowa Core versus Common Core, this is from Iowa Department of Education, and it tells you that there's a high level of similarity between the Iowa Core and the Common Core standards. Do you know why? Because in 2010, they integrated them. So there's your first myth of the day. When you hear the talk of Iowa Core versus Common Core, you hear executive orders. Those are wonderful things on words on a piece of paper. We applaud it, but it does nothing. Okay? So we're dealing with Iowa Core / Common Core still in the state today, even though you hear many people crying out against it. And we're not alone. If you look on Facebook, you'll look on searches online, you will see states all over this nation repealing, working against Common Core because of the dangers that it's bringing into the educational system. We were promised rigorous standards, and I would tell you they are rigid, but they are not rigorous. Dr. James Milgram says that the math program in the portions of it, math will leave us 2 years behind our counterparts in countries who are high-performing around the world. This will not be good for our students. We're told that it's unconstitutional. Not just your 10th Amendment rights, but there are 3 other educational acts in which this flies in the face of. So here in Iowa, a pastor and I, who's in this audience, Pastor Brad Cranston, who will be up here shortly, we're sitting at an airport, not wasting any time, and we just quickly jotted down 6 things we'd like to see happen. Those were then formulated by my other friend, Shane Vanderhart, myself, and Denise Bubat from Conservative for America, and we made them into platform planks that you could submit to your party at caucus time. You can still do that at the county conventions, at the district conventions, and I urge you to do that. Print them off your computer. You can go to Conservative for America's state webpage, and I'm sure we can get them on the Family Leaders website as well. Take them and talk about them to your state legislators. What we're asking is that they remove themselves from the Common Core. No more money be allowed for the implementation of a Common Core. Dr. Henry Burke, who has done a state-specific analysis on the cost of Common Core, he's volunteered to come over. We're going to be bringing him over for a meeting with the legislators, and we'll try and have a forum as well for the public. We'll try and let you know about that in the next couple of weeks. He says it will cost Iowans at least $184 million just to implement the Common Core. That's not updating. That's not keeping your computer technology updated each year, which you will have to do since your test will be taken on computers, and students are now being bounced off when they take their test. Bounced off. 80,000 students were bounced off while trying to take their test. Talk about test anxiety, right? It's got all of the rollout problems as another program. You're following. Good. We're tracking. All right. So we're asking that no more funds be given to that. We're asking that Iowa pull out of the MOU. The MOU is the Memorandum of Understanding which Governors Culver and Governor Branstad signed, saying that we would participate in the Smarter Balance Assessment Consortium. On page 3 of that, it tells you that states will change laws, although they call it barriers, regulations, and statutes to comply with the data collection requirements yet to be specified. Meaning we don't even know what we're going to agree to because they haven't yet been released, but we said, hey, we'll do it. In that data collection, there are 400 points of data that they're going to be asking for each student. It's invasive, it's intrusive, and it's unconstitutional. And they're harvesting information from your children. So we're asking that we pull out of that Memorandum of Understanding. Well, conveniently on page 12 and 13, they tell us how we do that. We offer a written request to withdraw. That doesn't mean we get out. Jane Robbins, who's been writing on this, and she's also one of the speakers we're going to try and bring in the next couple of weeks, has said that when you send that request in, it is simply that, a request. And then this non-governmental entity will now have the power to decide whether you can or cannot withdraw. And we do not know until it goes to the courts whether or not that will be a binding contract. The people of Iowa have now been taken captive. These are just a few of the issues, besides the data collection, besides the compromised standards, There's more. Trust me, there's more. We'd like to fill you in on that. We'd like to help you out with that. We have those 6 planks that you can take. We're asking that the money be removed. We're asking that we pull away from the memorandum of understanding. We're asking that legislators pass a law that no non-academic information will be collected from your children we're just asking that it not be collected. There's no reason they need it. So there's several things we're trying to do. We'd like you to work with us. Just as the pastor and I were able to put those things together in a quick few minutes in an airport, I want you to think about what you could possibly do. Today, as I came at 4 o'clock in the morning to get ready, I looked at the thermometer right outside the window, and it said -8 below. Immediately, you know how you just freeze at that thought, right? Well, so many of us freeze at the thought when we hear of something like this taking place in our schools. We think the battle's done. We think we're out of time. We have nothing more to do. In the short time I went to retrieve my robe and came back in, just from the running of the water and the lights in my bathroom, maybe I need a new window, I don't know, but the degree had raised. My point to you is, by a little bit of movement, by a little bit of activity, you too can warm the fires and start the movement back. Please don't take this that we're behind the 8 ball or we've lost or it's too late. I encourage you to join forces, come with us, make a stand. These are your children. I just recently sat with in the airplane with a county sheriff from Oklahoma. He said, you know what? I enforce and I uphold the law, but I don't uphold regulations and I'm not doing it anymore. Common Core is nothing but regulation after regulation on your children. They are your children. You will be responsible with them, for them, before God. And the beauty of it is, no matter what your background is, I work with Democrats, I work with liberals, I work with unions who have seen the danger of this. I've talked with teachers who have seen students stab themselves with pencils because of the frustration of this material, pull their hair out. They're cutting themselves because of what they're being forced to deal with in these lesson plans that are not sequential, they're inappropriate age-wise, they're just not good instruction for our children. I've talked with parents who have been labeled neo-Nazi because they raised the question in the classroom. One arrested because he raised a question in a meeting. This is not the freedom that we see in America, and it's not what we're going to let our America become. In America, the power is with we the people, is it not? Stand with me, take that power back, and by all means, we're not going to let them take that power from our children. Not on my watch. Thank you for standing with me.